city secretary. On that. Apparently my doppelganger was apparently my doppelganger across the street. She's I don't have a doppelganger. She was like, seriously,
You both right, Marshall? They closed the school.
We got an actually. Yeah.
We're rotating our staff families.
Have you seen these RV regulations? They do, yeah.
And the only thing now is because for the city.
Right there. Here she is.
Can't you just do it and I'll come do whatever you tell me to do?
I tried that yesterday. It didn't work too well.
Dang it, okay.
Because it kept coming on attention. It didn't we've always used it.
The little one in Toledo.
And it has the, it's the part of
That's good. And I tried to strike the judge, the financial officer, and it wouldn't let me do it. I can be better to make sense.
Yeah.
But I also can't
I can't either.
It's no big deal. We're still a week away.
Oh, gosh, I know. Did he tell you when he came in my office? I started crying yesterday.
No.
I did.
She had the Omicron version.
Hello, Jerry.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I would actually, I never have a certain spot that I sit. Oh, huh?
Oh, that's good.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a short meeting. Yeah, it is. My favorite part. Sorry, honey.
Sometimes people actually listen to what you say.
Do you mind if I talk to you? I never have a certain spot. Oh, there's her last.
That's the
Hey.
first thing you mentioned. So the winery, the shuttle service. Right. As long as you're there for 6 months.
It's 03, right?
Seems to have
Because
some
it becomes 3 and 3.
down with their own day. Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just want to let you know, sometimes people actually hear
I
what
like
you say.
Sure.
Unlike this guy.
Actually, we need to visit again too.
I'm sorry?
We need to visit again.
Uh-oh. What did I do this time?
Nothing. It's all good.
Well, holler at me someday.
Okay. Yeah, we're around Thursday. I was just looking at my IT things. Lee, take a picture. She's actually. Okay, she's doing it all now. Okay, I'll give it to her.
All right, let's call the Blanco County Commissioners Court to order this Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. Ask Ms. Wall to call the roll.
Judge Wright.
Here.
Commissioner Rea.
Here.
Commissioner Evans.
Here.
Commissioner Graber.
Here. Please join us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the invocation.
Thank you. As we come this day, we think about what we're called to do, how we're called to lead. And I think back just simple times, 100 years back. What was going on in 1922? We were coming out of the World War. The world was changing. We go back 200 years, 1822, we were barely a nation. And when we think about what we see now, how times have changed, we know that one thing is for sure, that in all that we do and all that we are, we need to trust in the Lord as He guides us and directs us in all things. So from Psalm, we hear, "The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in Him, and I am helped. My heart leaps for joy, and I will give thanks to Him in the song." As we lead forth, Lord, guide us and direct us in all things. We see new things, things we've never seen before, challenging times, but in you all things are possible, and we seek your guidance in all that we do and all that we are. Bless these men and women charged with leadership, guidance, and direction. Let them seek you in all things that we do, all things that we are. We ask this in the Lord's name. Amen.
Amen. Item 5. Item 5 on your agenda. The proposed minutes for your consideration.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Grammer, discussion.
It's me.
2006 involves line transfers, but there are none, so that takes 2007. Outstanding bills.
I'll make a motion to approve the outstanding bills in the amount of $303,650.74.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to item 8, and we did show. I placed this on the agenda for Mr. Oakley to present to the commissioners for the issue of an intersection that has, I bet you that some of you have also received feedback, and that's, I guess that's a nice way of saying it, from constituents who are concerned about a particular intersection here in Blanket County. And Mr. Oakley has just brought it even more to the forefront, wants to discuss it with us. I noticed that we also have someone from the city of Johnson City here who might want to speak as well. So, floor is yours.
Well, thank you. So what we're talking about today is the intersection of 281 and Range Road 2766 in Johnson City. And so, as you know, traffic volume is just continues to be astronomical on 281. And traffic on 2766 is also astronomical. And if any of you have been through that intersection, especially from the 2766 side in the last year, you'll know that it is very frustrating and really becoming dangerous to try to turn out of there onto 281. So we're seeing a lot of increase of crashes at that intersection and also just severe traffic backlogs down 2766 because people can't turn out of there. So if you don't know the intersection I'm talking about, the grade there is kind of a weird grade. The intersection isn't really like a complete right angle. There's high approach speeds coming from 281, and you're near the intersection of 290 or Main Street, however you want to look at it. And so what you have is a lot of drivers that are starting to, plan their turn, looking at that light, and just completely not paying attention there. So from an emergency services standpoint, it's getting very difficult because that's our only point of egress. So responding to calls. So every day, all day long, ambulances are responding to calls, having to go through that intersection. And it's pretty much every day. It's not every day, it's every other day where there's a report coming in where, they're nearly in a major accident. As they're coming through, be it driver attentiveness or just, the design of the intersection, ambulances are nearly hitting, major T-bone accidents every single day, despite the absurd amounts of lights and sirens and whistles that they make. So, but on top of that, just navigating through the traffic flow as the traffic backs up so far, trying to get out of there, it's becoming a real issue. So, I know someone from the city is here as well. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but the city passed a resolution in June.
And I have that.
Requesting TxDOT to study that intersection and take appropriate action, and nothing so far to date has been done. But it continues to be an issue every single day. So this issue came up first at an ESD1 meeting where a commissioner brought it up and said, what can we do? We explained that the city had already started, but really what it comes down to is getting the public involved, public awareness of the situation, but also there's real force in numbers. So ESD1 will be considering writing a resolution, and the way how we drafted the language is consistent with the city's resolution. So we're all kind of on the same page here, but what I'm asking for today is some support from the commissioners for, because if there's multiple governmental entities all saying that this intersection is a problem, it's going to hopefully really prioritize it a little higher on text dots list. Is that a good summary?
Yes, I mean, the city specifically asked for like a preemption control signal device because,
A little bit closer to the mic.
okay,
You
so,
are, you are Whitney Walsh.
yes, I'm the city secretary for the city of Johnson City. So in June, the city council passed a resolution, specifically asking for some kind of signal control device or preemption device so that when EMS is coming through, they can control the signal. We submitted this to TxDOT, but it's a multi-part resolution, and so they did hear our concerns about the 290 turn lane, but then for like the preemption device on 2766 and 281 was kind of just skimmed over. So having a unified voice throughout this area will probably help, because it's a difficult intersection because we have, it's limited in what you can do because of the library presence at 281 and 290. A standard light, we were told, is not an option because of how traffic backs up and it's not enough spacing to put a traditional light. And then as more development comes down 2766 or Schofield Avenue is developed, it's going to, within the city, put more stress on that intersection.
So, I guess.
I did forget to touch, so what I put in the draft resolution for ESD, which we gave you a copy of as well.
They don't have it.
Okay. So the draft resolution that we have so far, first is requesting evaluation of the standard traffic light, which I know the concerns from TxDOT on the spacing issue, but I'm not a traffic engineer. That's part of what they're to evaluate with preemption, but an alternative option is what they call an emergency vehicle traffic control signal, which basically looks like a normal traffic signal with flash yellow or green normally. And they'll be activated by emergency services when they're coming through the change that goes with traffic to red, which puts an infrastructure there for future development.
A couple of things, and I'm sure we'll have something, hang on, you too. One, you and I discussed the first draft, talked about, had some comments, and ultimately, I think decided that draft is pretty well good to go. Right?
Yes.
But it didn't make it to the commissioners or our packets, my fault. And so for them to, today, they're gonna have to know what they're voting on. Can you read what we're proposing?
Sorry.
And while you're looking to, given your job you're in and your experience with TxDOT on it, well, I don't know if there's anybody in the room that doesn't agree that lives out here, if that's a dangerous intersection. Do we really, are we very optimistic that TxDOT is going to put another traffic light on I-35 West? And I counted yesterday, and it took me about 12 to 13 seconds to go from one light to the intersection. To put another traffic light that close to the one that already exists, despite the fact we all know something needs to happen, but.
I think it's their safety standards, there's not enough spacing so that as the light backs up, that you are going to back up, especially we've all seen the traffic on, the Friday before rain season, it's backed up all the way to Lowe's, it feels like. And so because we have so much of that backup traffic, we felt, and from the conversations, that a light really is not an option. But something like the preemption device or an emergency control device where it was only deactivated would probably was the best option. But I feel like, I can't recall, but it was something about maybe TxDOT would, the city and the county ESD would have to share the cost. That TxDOT we would have to do for that ourselves.
I don't know what the commissioners are thinking, so they may balk at this and want to see it in paper before they're going to vote on it, but if you would read what we're asking them to consider.
Yeah, and I don't think that if we need to print it and bring it to the next meeting would create undue delay. Just because ESD one will not meet until the third Monday of February, so.
Well, then, we'll take the time.
Whatever.
Unless they're eager to get going, we'll wait. It is my view, and I've expressed this to you, that, my limited experience with TxDOT says that county commissioners, courts in Texas, are, sort of specially recognized by TxDOT for whatever reason.
I can hit the highlights of this real quick if you have a minute, just to kind of, so next month we're already briefed up on it. So the first paragraph is just talking about where it's addressed future growth and whatnot, the standard language of what we're seeking, which the city resolution, it matches that. But it goes on to say, whereas authorized emergency vehicles, Lincoln County ESD number 1 are required to traverse the intersection of US 281 Range Road 2766 more than 1,000 times annually. Respond to life-threatening calls for service for EMS. And whereas the high approach speeds of traffic on US 281 combined with significant increases in traffic volume at the intersection has resulted in said intersection becoming very dangerous for both motorists as well as Lincoln County ESD 1 personnel. And whereas operators of authorized emergency vehicles of Lincoln County ESD number 1 report near miss incidents in which the operator was nearly involved in a major crash at the intersection almost every single day while trying to respond to life-threatening emergencies. And whereas Lincoln County ESD 1 has identified a significant increase in the number of crashes at the intersection, then we go into the be it resolved. And like I said, the first option we proposed was the traditional standard light with preemption, and the second option was an emergency vehicle traffic control. So in the MUTCD,
Manual uniform traffic control device?
yes. That was your top poster today. So there's different warrants for different types of signals. So the normal warrants is 40 feet. And like we mentioned, they are likely to say no to that. But how I was looking at it in the resolution is if we just propose one option and they say no, then it's closed. So if we propose that with the fallback of the emergency vehicle signal, which has lower warrants, which is 4F or 4G, which it does clear cut and meet every single criteria under that, I feel like we'd be able to be more successful. And as she mentioned, this resolution is solely for this purpose. You can't get distracted by the issues.
The thing is, and this is where the two of you can stand further apart because you don't agree or split on this, I would hope is that the ambulance is kind of been very wrecks there. There are a lot of wrecks there. And so this device for emergency use isn't going to help the rest of us.
And I thought about that, in my opinion, which of course is an opinion, is any type of device there is going to help with the greater problem and at least making drivers more attentive to this is a dangerous intersection.
Okay, well, the one that I remember seeing, I don't know where I was, but it was in that call area. We were driving along, and I would have just proceeded all the way through the thoroughfare without anything. But suddenly, these lights came on flashing, and it caused us to stop, and then these fire engines came roaring out of the building. So that's great, but had they not activated, I wouldn't have done anything different. And nobody else would try to with me with it.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So another part would be maybe requesting a traffic study, and this is a two-part deal, because this is what the city has talked about, is no one wants to lower the speed limits. And if you request a traffic study, they can even say, well, you can actually go faster. So it's a two-part deal, we could hope that through a traffic study says that maybe we need to lower that speed limit from 45, because that speed limit down to 40 or 35.
How does the city of Blanco get, the speed limit lowered? I can't remember if it's 50 or 55, all the way back to where 163 comes out on 281, all the way down, proceeding north past stripes along traffic light like that. And we in Johnson City can't get the speed limit lowered down here to Flat Creek Road.
Judge, I can answer that. City of Blanco had the authority, municipalities have the authority to work out the stone when it comes in the city limits. So y'all do have the authority, I believe. I would regulate that speed in that junction there, I don't know.
Because it is, it's it's a text off road, it's not a city
So
road.
it's good.
So it's good, and the city had the city of Blanco had the authority to do that within their city limits, which we did. We tried to do it through Austin and through TxDOT. We didn't, that I don't know, well, I believe it does, but it's city limits, right?
See, I've been suggesting to two different mayors, several different councils in Johnson City that the city has power, but all I ever hear back is, TxDOT says that.
So I'm going to have to look into that farther, because like you said, more development, especially Schofield is developed, you're gonna then not only have people coming from 2766, you're gonna have people coming the other way, and then instead of just 3 directions, you're gonna have 4 directions for complete mess. So that's something the city could easily look into and confirm further with TxDOT, and then we could easily pass a resolution if our council is unanimous of lowering that speed limit.
Yeah, I took as far afield, but went with simply.
Let me ask you this, in the TxDOT 3 to 5 10-year plan, we get the Commissioner Eager, and I get to see a little bit of that in Austin, but with that, maybe there is something already in the works, but we don't know that there's not for them to. I remember on that list, they were talking about working from Johnson City west on 290, and then they had appropriation, of course, to go to Johnson, 290 east, or maybe a mile or 2 or 3. But what I don't know, if any of that money was for that corridor right there between 281 and 290. But it could be in a plan that we don't know about, I don't know for sure it's not.
The only thing I'm aware of, and I'm not sure within it changes a little bit within the municipality, but I know that overall, in that economic development plan is their intent to move 281 to divide the highway, county line. They help over the timeline on that, but as you've probably seen, it's already started to come on, the long-term plan to make 281 all the way from San Antonio to basically, what is that, Dallas, wherever 281 intersects with 35. They'll make it divided.
Comes back together in downtown Blanco, and then I don't know how it gets to Johnson City, but that, again, that could be part of that plan that's in the works. We just don't know how far out that is. They're gonna divide that right there at that junction. Seems to me that would be a natural for that to be taken care of.
So the question on the table for commissioners is if they are interested in receiving a proposed resolution next time.
So I would say absolutely that I'd be fully supportive of a resolution from the county commissioner to TxDOT. However, I would also say that, we're putting all our eggs in one basket. I mean, we're depending solely on TxDOT. Has there been any thought for the ESD to try to gain access back to Bill Watson Drive and try to get ambulances out that way? Has there been any thought on the city of Johnson City to bring, what's the road by Pat Dildine and tie that back into the light by the liquor store?
So is that North Wintersburg?
Yes. Has there been any consideration? I mean, that, all the subdivision back there, all of that can come out straight at the light. That would take a lot of that traffic off. That's some options. I know I'm gonna support you to go to TxDOT. However, like I said, you're keeping everything in one spot. And when they say no, then we're right back to square one. hopefully we can start looking at different ideas to maybe move in a different direction.
Okay, can you slow down just a little bit? Did you say come out by the liquor store?
So if you was to take from the liquor store and go straight back to North Wintersburg,
East.
correct. If the city was to get property and access to get a street back to the North Wintersburg, you could bring the Creek View, Creekside, whatever that subdivision, all that traffic could come straight out there to the light, as opposed to coming down 2766 to that intersection.
Is that your present?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I think I've honestly never thought of that solution, but that could also be something that
Long-term planning.
long-term planning with the city and maybe even TechStop, whereby maybe the solution is rerouting 2766 into that intersection, if there can't be separate traffic control devices.
And not necessarily reroute the entire road, because you still have the other side, by Dairy Queen, that you have the same issue. So we know that intersection is a bad intersection. However, I'm just looking for alternative ideas to, how can we lighten the load a little bit by creating a bid. And I know that back in the day, that's how all the ambulances came out, was on Bill Watson Drive. And I know that hasn't been done for a long time, and I don't know what the traffic counts are now compared to then, but it seemed like a safer intersection.
Yeah, so as far as the Bill Watson Drive, it's actually through the property between like the grocery store and the EMS or ESD facility. We don't own that, and due to a long age-old issue, there's no easement through that property. So,
but maybe these new ESD commissioners can work and make a proposition.
it's a possibility. It's changed hands a few times, so it's something we can. The last time we did try to go through that issue. There's currently no right of way or easement due to issues long before.
Right, I understand. But I'm just trying to think outside the box, so that's my point.
Yeah, but the street thing is interesting. It's not an overnight fix.
No, but again, we know that 2766 is the prime spot for development. It's around the fringe of the city limits. It's accessible through our utilities. And it's going to be developed. It's going to see more and more population growth. And so instead of, the short-term fix of a emergency signal, but that's still not gonna fix it when it can't go on to 2766 in say 2 or 3 years. You're gonna have a way to alleviate that traffic buildup and, like you said, reroute it somewhere.
It does go back to like the city of Blanco, which I didn't even know about until like a week ago, but Paul probably did, but at one point in time, 281 routed where like Loop 163 is, and there was no bridge, and they eventually completely re-engineered it, and it wasn't a big, it was a big project, but it wasn't huge to fix the issue. So sometimes there's strategic ways that you can just re-engineer it and fix the issue.
Okay.
Maybe,
Okay, I'm sorry, still focused on that. I suppose you could call that the first loop, but the next loop, is gonna be controversial, I suspect. Or sensitive or something. So, one thing that we, and I think the question's been answered, so we'll put a resolution to the commission, cool. Again, put aside emergency vehicles. The rest of us, it's still a dangerous intersection. And, I'm just curious, like the police department, it's enforcement of the area. I get a lot of complaints about a particular individual. And that's his personal liberty, he can do it, I suppose, but he takes his life in his hands with this, scooter. It's like a Walmart kind of scooter. Traveling in that area a lot. And I get complaints from people that it ought to be a traffic offense, or that he sometimes commits traffic offenses. I don't know. Have you ever heard any complaints
I have not, know if there are any complaints directly to the police department, but again, I have not heard any of that trickled out to me.
I can help out here. So the police department is very much aware of that situation, and we actually work directly with them to give, that individual access through the EMS property and the, storage facility property to be able to travel to without going on the highway. Because of repeated complaints of the individual
It still happens.
chooses not to do so. The police department has proactively reached out to the individual many times to try to solve it and came up with a joint solution.
It's dangerous for him,
Senior sir.
and for everybody.
Yes, sir. So I guess the only thing I would ask is to, on the draft resolutions in front of the meeting here, we discussed about traffic signal and emergency vehicle signal. Is there anything else that you would like to see? Perhaps, do we want to put the speed limit issue into said resolution or pass that back to
Probably
Whitney?
most direct, probably pass it back to me.
How about that?
So we're taking the idea that you were referring to is more of a self-help, something we do ourselves. It's not really.
Right, it's just an idea, how can we get a resolution? How can we get some action taken besides depending solely on text stuff? Because we've been down this road many times and we're still fighting these.
So it doesn't need to be part of the resolution.
I don't think so, I think that's kind of the background that we ought to be trying to think of ways to circumvent the situation.
I'll take the property issue from ESD for discuss. I know from the safety standpoint, it gets us further away from that intersection, so it's a little better, but when we were primarily using that egress route, we saw a lot of issues because of the fencing and property right there on the corner. It creates a blind spot in the opposite direction.
It's not good for the rest of us coming out from the grocery store.
But that intersection should be, you could put a light at that intersection.
Another light?
But, if you say, I know another light, people will move away from Maywood County, put another light.
So how many knocks do we need?
There's 30 coming in.
But that intersection could be eligible for a light, a traditional light.
Controversial topics. Sorry.
I never wanted to live in two stop towns, but here we are.
There it is.
I know, but I was here before that.
Alright, so I guess there's nothing more to do and then resolution.
I think that'll work out, just because ESD meets once a month, so that way we'll all kind of go around the same time, which will make it a little bit easier. So,
And unless somebody wants to say differently, I think you can represent to your representative agencies that the commissioner court is in favor of supporting you and trying to express our concerns.
thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you both. Item 9 is possible resolution authorizing emergency grant funding for emergency equipment.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution to authorize the constable of precinct 1 to seek grant funding for vehicle and emergency equipment from Cape Solid Waste Branch Program. The county judge shall be the authorizing official for this grant, giving the power to apply for, accept, reject, and alter, or terminate the grant.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Granberg. So the part of that last part about the county judge and authorized official, that's just for Cap Cod requirement that they're being authorized official for their grant. Right, Mr. Reed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any discussion?
The only question I have is I just want to make sure with Paul that he was in the solid waste grant that's not going to interfere with the program ordinance that you've already got in place?
No, because CAPCOG allows each county to apply for up to 3 separate.
And they also allow you to prioritize, and I believe Mr. Mayor, at Health Committee, we already prioritized Halls first, this one second. Right?
That's correct.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, resolution authorizing the constable to seek grant funds for, do I have it backwards? Because mine says this one's emergency vehicle equipment.
No, sir.
Oh, it's different, criminal justice.
It's a criminal justice grant.
Any motions?
I'll make a motion to authorize the constable basically want to seek grant funding for vehicle, emergency equipment, and salary support for part-time deputy and from the office of the governor, criminal justice division, with the county judge authorized official for this grant.
Is there a second? Second. I think I got Mr. Baker first. On my right, Mr. Baker. Discussion. Now, that salary support, is this a backdoor way of ultimately getting the commissioner's court to fund your deputy constable salary in the future?
No, sir. I'm asking for salary support for the future, but I'm gonna probably come to you in June for asking the same thing. The only difference is this, if it's funded through the grant, it starts. You don't have to, it's not funded for 12 months through the county.
Okay, anything else? Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. The previous appointment resolution for Mr. Hart to listing number 2 had a typographical error. We're asking you to consider appointing him newly to that.
I'm gonna make a motion to appoint Henry to fill the vacancy of Tom Rogers' resignation on October the 14th, 2021, effective November the 23rd, 2021, and ending December the 31st, 2022. Blanford County, yes, County 2 Board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Granberg, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, specs and purchase for 3 pistols for the sheriff's deputies.
Make a motion to approve the specs and purchase of the 3 Glock 9mm pistols for the Blanford County Sheriff's Office as outlined in the capital equipment section of the FY 2021-2022 budget.
Is there a second? Commissioner Eager, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, specs and purchase for 3 Motorola radios, sheriff's office.
I'll make a motion to approve the specs and purchase of 3 Motorola APX 6000 XE handheld radios for the Blanford County Sheriff's Office as outlined in the capital equipment section of the FY 2021-22 budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I got Commissioner Eager. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 14, proposed order to appoint a presiding and alternate judge. And, the presiding judge being proposed is Candy Moody in precinct 112, and the alternate judge being proposed is Julia Combs in precinct 303. I see Ms. Lewis in the room. The presiding judges are just Republican.
Yes, sir, as long as Blanco County or the state of Texas has a governor,
Right.
it's Republican, the Republican Party of Blanco County will appoint or nominate judges.
And so this is your nomination?
Yes, sir, we had to make a replacement because due to redistricting in the county, the judge that the commissioners approved several months back no longer lives in that precinct.
And the alternate for 102 is fine, because it's blank here.
Yes, sir, I questioned that. The alternate was a Democrat as needed. Since there is no longer precinct 304 voting precinct,
No, I'm still on 102.
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the alternate is fine.
In
Yes, sir.
102.
Yes, sir.
So going to 303, you're presiding in 303 is fine.
Yes.
Who is that today?
Amanda Buck.
Amanda Buck.
Yes.
And then the alternate being proposed is Julie McCollum's by Mr.
Castreras.
Castreras, LLC.
Yes, sir.
Anything else good?
Yes, sir.
These are just the two things the commissioner needs to consider.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve the order to appoint a presiding and alternate judge to serve for the unexpired two-year term of the precincts 102 and 303 from the supplemental list provided by Black County Republican and Democratic Party chair.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Weir, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15. Is it set to expire today? Okay. Yesterday was Perfect Day Burn Day, so if you want a Perfect Day Burn. But I understand that, it's gonna get very windy and dry later. Just like how. Unless there's a motion.